The millionaire had never noticed any woman, until one night, she made him beg for her attention. "Hi, my sweet family. I'm so happy you're here with me today. I have a very special story to share, and it might touch your heart. Thank you for being here. We're going on a fun little journey together. But before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from? I love reading your comments and seeing where my wonderful family lives all around the world. Now, are you ready? Let's get started." The big shiny building of Reed Tech stood tall in the middle of the busy city. It looked very important, just like the man who owned it, Mr. Ethan Reed. Ethan Reed was only 34 years old, but everyone knew who he was. He had a serious face and didn't smile much. People in the office would joke that the room got colder when he walked in. On this special morning, a woman named Zara James sat at her desk near his office. She heard the sound of Ethan's fancy leather shoes clicking on the marble floor. Right away, all the workers sat up straight and pretended to be super busy. Ethan wore a perfect gray suit. His face was sharp, and his gray eyes never showed any feelings. There was always a little frown on his forehead. As he walked by, everyone stopped talking. "Good morning, Mr. Reed," Zara said in a calm voice, even though her heart was beating fast. Ethan just nodded a little and went into his office without saying more. The only person who remembered the old, funny Ethan was Jerry Matthews. Jerry was Ethan's friend since they were boys and now worked as the company's lawyer. They used to go to school together, and Jerry always said, "You've become just like your dad wanted." But it didn't sound like a good thing. 2 years ago, Ethan's mom had picked a girl named Avery for him. Avery was smart, came from a rich family, and seemed perfect. But Ethan treated the relationship like a business deal. He gave her big houses, cars, and nice vacations. "I gave her everything she could want," Ethan told Jerry once. "But not yourself," Jerry answered. Avery left him with a letter. Her handwriting was pretty and neat. She wrote, "You gave me the world, Ethan, but never your time or your heart." That letter still sat in Ethan's desk, forgotten, along with other sad memories. Meanwhile, Zara was having her own problems. Her mom was very sick in the hospital, and the bills were very expensive. Zara worked hard as Ethan's secretary and earned good money, but the job took up all her time. She missed family dinners, birthdays, and even her sister's wedding. "I know you're busy, sweetheart," her dad said over the phone. "But your sister's wedding was important." After those calls, Zara would lie on the couch and cry. Her roommate, Maya, would sit quietly beside her, offering hugs and love. Zara felt like a hero for helping her family with money, but she also felt sad for missing all the special moments. At work, things were stressful too. Ethan was trying to buy a company called Smith Energies. The owner, Mr. Julian Smith, was an old-fashioned man. He believed in family, honesty, and being a good person. He once said that a man's personal life showed who he really was. Ethan really wanted this deal. It would make his company bigger and finally show his father that he was successful. Every morning, Ethan asked for updates about the deal and got angry when things moved too slowly. One morning, Zara heard Ethan talking to Jerry in his office. "The Smiths believe in strong families," Jerry explained. "They turned down 3 deals this year because the CEOs didn't seem trustworthy. One of them didn't even wear a wedding ring." Ethan sighed. "So if I show up alone to the Smiths' party, it'll look bad?" "Exactly," Jerry said. "They think personal life is just as important as business." That evening, as Zara was getting ready to go home, the intercom buzzed. Ethan's voice came through, calm and serious. "Miss James, I need to talk to you before you leave." Zara's heart dropped. Her mom was finally coming home from the hospital that weekend, and she had promised to be there. She had really promised. But as she walked into Ethan's office, she could tell her plans were about to fall apart. The sun was setting, and the light made long shadows in the room. Ethan stood by the big window looking out. Without turning around, he spoke. "The Smiths' party is this Saturday. You will come with me." It wasn't a question. It was an order. Zara's throat felt tight. "Mr. Reed, He turned around. His face said there was no room to argue. "The car will pick you up at 7 o'clock. Wear black. It's a masked party." Zara stood still. She remembered her mother's happy face, her father's sad eyes, but she knew Ethan wouldn't care. He once fired a man for missing a meeting because of his child's graduation. That night, Zara cried at home. "I can't miss Mom coming home," she sobbed. "Dad will never forgive me. But if I don't go to the party..." Maya held her close. Zara felt torn between her job and her family. What she didn't know was this moment would start something big. It would change Ethan's life and hers forever. But right now, all Zara saw was a hard choice. She didn't know yet that hard times can lead to surprises, sometimes good ones. People knew about Ethan's failed relationship with Avery, but no one knew how lonely he really was. He didn't know how to be happy or how to let people in. That evening, as he stood in his big apartment looking at the city, he had no idea his life was about to be turned upside down. All because of a party and a woman who would teach him something very special. Some things can't be bought. They must be earned with love and kindness. In the small apartment, the city lights twinkled outside the window. Zara walked back and forth, feeling nervous. Her reflection showed in the glass. Maya sat on the couch, watching her. "I can't believe this is happening," Zara said with tears. 8 months. 8 months Mom has been in the hospital, and the one day I promised to be there. She sat down next to Maya, crying again. "Tell him you can't go." "It's that simple," Maya said. Zara laughed sadly. "Simple? Do you know Ethan Reed? He made Mr. Johnson cry just because he had a typo in a report." She showed Maya a text Ethan had sent. "The dress will be delivered tomorrow. Black. Floor length. No exceptions." "He really is bossy," Maya said, shaking her head. "He even tells you what to wear." "He signs my paychecks," Zara said softly. "And those paychecks paid for Mom's hospital bills." She picked up her tea, now cold. "Dad called earlier. They're planning a small party for Mom. Sarah's flying in from Chicago. Even Tommy is coming from med school." Her voice broke. "Everyone will be there, except me." Again. Her dad's birthday, her empty chair had been a sad reminder. At Sarah's wedding, she had only arrived at the end, still wearing work clothes. She missed many hospital visits too, only calling on video between meetings. "Your family knows you're helping them," Maya said gently. "Do they?" Zara whispered. "All I see in Dad's eyes now is disappointment. And Mom, I know she's hurt. Money isn't everything, Maya. They need me. Not just my money." They sat in quiet, the kind of quiet that only true friends can share. They had been best friends since high school. Back then, Maya was the shy one, and Zara was loud and full of life. But now Maya had become a strong lawyer, and Zara had learned to be quiet under Ethan's pressure. "You know what's funny?" Zara said, wiping her eyes. "It's a masked party. Ethan won't even know who's with him. He just wants someone who looks nice for the cameras and the Smiths." Something changed in Maya's eyes. She sat up straighter. "A masked party?" she asked. "Yeah," Zara said. "Some fancy theme. Mrs. Smith wants everyone to wear black and cover their faces." Maya stood and opened their closet. She pulled out a blue dress. "Remember when I wore this to court last month? That junior lawyer thought I was you until I spoke." Zara looked shocked. She saw where Maya was going with this. "Maya, no. That's crazy." "Is it?" Maya smiled. "We're the same height, same build, same skin color. If I wear a mask, you want to pretend to be me at the party?" Zara gasped. "With Ethan Reed? The man who doesn't even know what color my eyes are." Maya nodded. "You said it yourself. He just needs someone who looks pretty and acts polite." Zara stood up and walked back and forth. "This is crazy. What if he finds out?" she said. "He won't," Maya said. "It's a masked party. Everyone will be trying to look cool and mysterious." "You'll be where you need to be, with your family," Maya added. Even though the idea sounded a little wild, Zara started to think maybe it could work. They spent the next hour talking about what might happen, what could go wrong, and all the things they needed to do. Zara started remembering all the little things about working with Ethan. Like how he liked his coffee black with no sugar. How he checked his phone every 20 minutes at events. How he stood a little bit away from big groups of people. The next day, a dress arrived, just like promised. It was made of shiny black silk and had tiny shiny beads on it. There was a mask too, which covered the top half of the face. When Maya tried it on, even Zara was surprised. "It fits you perfectly," Zara whispered, walking around her friend. "It fits even better than it would have fit me." The next few days were very busy. Maya learned about Reed Tech, about Ethan's current projects, and about the big Smith deal. Zara helped Maya learn how to walk, talk, and act like her. She told her how to stand tall, and how to answer Ethan when he gave short orders. "He doesn't like small talk," Zara explained as she watched Maya practice walking in the high heels. "If he talks to you, it's usually to give instructions or remind you about something important." "Sounds fun," Maya muttered while learning to walk smoothly like Zara always did. The night before the big party, they sat in the living room, going over the last details. Zara's plane ticket to her hometown was ready. She would fly early in the morning, and be there just in time to see her mom come home. Maya would go to the party pretending to be Zara. Remember, Zara said, holding Maya's hands. He always stands on the left in photos. He drinks exactly 2 glasses of scotch, no more, no less. And if someone asks about work, I should make it about him or keep the answer short, Maya finished with a smile. I got this. Now go be with your family. The morning of the party came, and the sky was clear. Zara left early, her heart full of thankfulness but also worry. She hoped everything would go well. Maya began getting ready. It took hours, but in the end, she looked like a princess in her black silk dress. The mask made her look mysterious, like someone from a fairy tale. Just like Zara said, the text came. Car arriving in 20 minutes. Maya looked at herself in the mirror. She saw herself, but also Zara. The plan felt smart, but also a little scary. But there was no going back now. She got into the shiny black car that was waiting to take her to Ethan's big house. Maya felt nervous. She was going to pretend to be someone else next to one of the toughest men in the business world. But then she remembered Zara crying and wanting to be with her family. That made Maya feel strong again. In a small house across the city, Zara's family was also getting ready. They were excited to welcome Zara's mom home. They had no idea about the big switch that had taken place. Back in the city, Ethan Reed was getting dressed in his tall apartment. He fixed his bow tie just right. His mask, simple and fancy, lay ready. He was thinking about the evening ahead, about the Smith family, and the important deal. He didn't even think about the woman who would be with him. The woman who was not really who she seemed to be. The stage was set. 2 big things were about to happen. One was a warm family reunion. The other was a fancy party full of secrets. No one knew how these 2 stories would one day come together. The sun was setting, turning the city sky orange and pink, as Ethan's black car moved through traffic. Maya sat beside him, her heart beating fast under her beautiful dress. The mask on her face felt light, but the secret she carried felt heavy. Ethan only glanced at her once. He was busy looking at his tablet, just like Zara had said he would be. The Smiths are old-fashioned, Ethan said, still looking at his screen. When we arrive, stay close, but not too close. Look smart, not desperate. His voice was firm, like he was giving a business talk. Of course, Mr. Reed, Maya answered softly, copying how Zara usually talked. She looked at his face in the car's soft light. Now she saw what Zara meant. He was handsome, but also serious, like a statue made from stone and hard work. The Smith's house looked like a magical castle in the night. Twinkling lights filled the trees. People in black clothes and masks moved like shadows. Cameras flashed as the car pulled up. Ethan stepped out first. He moved like someone used to being watched. He held out his hand to Maya, not to be nice, but because it looked good. As Maya stepped out, the photographers took lots of pictures. Ethan placed his hand gently on her back, guiding her forward. Smile, he whispered. But his face didn't change much. The masks made everyone look mysterious. The photographers loved it. They snapped lots of photos of the powerful CEO and his beautiful mystery date. Inside, the big house was full of black and gold colors. Pretty lights sparkled, and soft classical music played. People chatted quietly, pretending to guess who was who. I need to find Julian Smith, Ethan said, looking around. Stay where people can see you, but look busy. He looked for the right word. Compatible, Maya said with a tiny smile. Ethan looked at her, surprised. Before he could say anything, the crowd began to move. Lila Smith, the host, had entered. She looked stunning in her black lace dress and pearl mask. Ethan stood straighter, ready to talk to her. But Maya had already caught Lila's attention. Maybe it was the lawyer inside her, but Maya saw something, an opening. Mrs. Smith, she called warmly, that mask is amazing. The pearls sparkled beautifully. Lila smiled. How sweet of you to say. Most people are too busy guessing who's who to notice the masks. Maya walked up with Ethan. The mystery is part of the fun. Picking the perfect mask for your own birthday must have been hard. Lila laughed. Oh, you don't know how long it took me. Not silly at all, Maya said. The right mask, just like the right partner, can make the night magical. Ethan's hand squeezed her waist slightly, but Maya kept talking. Mr. Reed was just saying how happy we are to be here, she added. Lila looked at Ethan, who smoothly joined the conversation. But Maya noticed Lila's eyes kept coming back to her. As the night went on, Maya became part of Lila's group. She joked with her friends, talked smartly about art, and even made the serious Julian Smith laugh. Ethan watched her with surprise. The woman he thought would stay quiet and pretty was now the star of the night. When Julian finally talked to Ethan about the big deal, it was mostly because Lila liked Maya so much. The music changed to something slower. Couples danced. The room felt like a dream. Ethan led Maya to the dance floor. His hand fit perfectly at her waist. "You've surprised me," he said in a softer voice. "I didn't expect someone who could think for herself." Maya smiled a little. "Someone who knows the game," she said. Ethan's steps slowed for a second. "Maybe," Maya said gently. "You've been playing the wrong game all along." They danced in silence, wrapped in the soft music. As the party ended, Lila gave Maya a big hug. "You must come for tea next week, dear. Both of you." On the ride home, Ethan was quiet. He didn't even touch his tablet. As they reached her place, he finally spoke. "Thank you for tonight," he said. "And tell Miss James to come to my office first thing Monday morning." His voice sounded calm, but there was something else too. Was it a little bit of fun? Or maybe he liked what was happening? Maya's heart jumped. He had known the truth the whole time, yet he had played along. He let the game go on. When she got out of the car, she saw his reflection in the window. A tiny smile was on his face. The car drove away, leaving Maya standing in the cool night. Her mind was full of thoughts. Her phone buzzed with messages from Zara, but she didn't look. For a moment, she just stood there, thinking about how his hand had felt on her waist, how his eyes had followed her all evening, and how his serious face had changed just a little. Something had changed that night. Not just for Zara or Ethan, but for everyone. When Maya turned to go into her building, she wondered what Monday would bring. And why did Ethan Reed's almost smile make her heart beat faster? On Monday morning, the sun shone through the tall windows at Reed Tech. Long shadows covered the shiny floors. Zara sat at her desk, tapping her fingers nervously. She came to work an hour early, thinking about what might happen. The fun weekend at her mother's house now felt far away. The elevator dinged. She heard Ethan's footsteps. Her heart beat faster. He walked past her without saying anything and went into his office. Then his voice came from the intercom. "Come in, Miss James." Ethan stood by the window, his back to her, hands behind his back. The light made him look tall and serious. Zara closed the door softly and waited. "You tried to trick me," he said, still looking outside. His voice was not angry. It sounded like something else. Zara wasn't sure what. "Mr. Reed, I can explain," she started. But her words stopped. "What's her name?" he asked, turning around at last. His face didn't show much, but his eyes were sharp. "I'm sorry." "Your friend," he said. "The one who went to the gala." "What's her name?" Zara waited. Should she tell the truth? She finally said, "Maya." "Maya Peters. She's a lawyer, right?" "Yes, sir. She works at Morrison Wright." He nodded slowly and tapped his fingers once on the desk. That was rare. He never looked nervous. "You're not fired, Miss James," he said. Zara let out a breath. She didn't even know she was holding it. "Your work is great, and I understand that I made things hard for you." That surprised Zara more than being fired would have. Ethan Reed was saying he may have been wrong. "Thank you, Mr. Reed. That will be all," he said and turned to his computer. But just as she reached the door, he said, "And Miss James, I hope your mother is feeling better." The week went by quickly. Strange things happened. Ethan looked distracted. He stared out the window a lot. That never happened before. He didn't focus on work like usual. Twice, Zara saw him looking at the Morrison Wright website. On Thursday, as Zara was getting ready to leave, she heard Ethan talking to his mother on the phone. "No, Mother. I don't need you to set me up with Elena." "Yes, I remember her from high school." "No, I'm not still upset about the chemistry lab." "Please, Mother." There was a long pause. "Yes, I remember the family weekend. It's in 3 weeks." "No, I won't go alone." "Yes, I promise I'll bring someone." "I have to go now." The next morning, Ethan called Zara into his office again. He stood by the window like always but looked a little tense. "I need a date for the Reed family weekend," he said. "It's a big family tradition. We spend 3 days at the family house in the Hamptons." Zara nodded and started writing notes on her tablet. "I want you to ask Miss Peters if she's free," he said. Her tablet fell to the floor. "I'm sorry, what?" "Maya Peters," he said again. "Tell her I'll pay her for her time." That night, at their apartment, Zara told Maya everything. Maya was sitting on the couch in comfy clothes, working on case files. "He wants to pay me to go with him?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Well, it sounds strange when you say it like that," Zara said. "He's not good with people or feelings or anything outside of work," Zara added. Maya closed her file and looked thoughtful. "Tell him I said no." "What?" "But sure." "Tell him," Maya said with a small smile, "that if he wants me to go, he has to ask me properly." Zara stared. "You want Ethan Reed, the man who scares big company bosses, To ask you out like a normal person? Exactly. Now back to our music story. The next few days were funny. Zara tried not to look at Ethan, and Ethan was trying to decide what to do. She saw him pacing, calling jewelry stores, flower shops, and fancy stores. One afternoon, a big delivery came to Morrison Wright. A cart full of roses, a Cartier box, and a card that said, "Will you be my date?" with Ethan's number on the back. Maya looked at it once, and sent it all back. When Ethan heard the answer, he looked confused. He laughed, but it was more from shock than fun. "What does she mean no?" he asked Zara. "Did you tell her about the money?" "She doesn't care about money, Mr. Reed," Zara said. "She cares about being real." Ethan stood still, looking out the window. For the first time, he was really confused. Most women he met cared about his money, job, or power. But Maya had surprised him again. After thinking for a week, Ethan went to Morrison Wright. The receptionist told him Maya was in a meeting. So he waited. The great Ethan Reed sat like a regular visitor. For almost an hour. When Maya came out, she saw him sitting there. He didn't look scary. He looked hopeful. Their eyes met. No one spoke. "Would you like to have dinner with me?" he asked. No big words. No big gifts. Just a question. His voice sounded a little unsure. Maya looked at him. She noticed that he looked different, like he was really asking, not telling. "Yes," she said. "I would like that." Ethan smiled. A real smile. Not fake. Maybe the first real one in years. When he left, his walk looked lighter. Maya thought, sometimes big lessons come in simple moments. That evening, Ethan sat in his office. He was thinking, not about business, but about Maya. He remembered how she moved through the gala, how she made people laugh, and how she had stood up to him. His phone buzzed. His mother was calling again. But this time, he didn't feel annoyed. He was excited to introduce Maya, not as a helper or business deal, but as someone special. The next morning at work, people noticed something new. Ethan seemed nicer, warmer. When Johnson from accounting messed up his report, Ethan didn't get mad. He asked questions. He listened. Zara watched and smiled. She had known Maya since school. Maya was smart and strong. Now Ethan Reed, the man who never changed, was learning something big. That real connections can't be bought. They must be earned. As Ethan got ready for the dinner weekend, Zara saw something else. Maybe the best matches don't come from plans or family setups. Maybe they come from surprise moments that make us see life in a new way. Ethan's big change didn't happen with a big boom. It happened softly, with a mask at a party, with a quiet smile, with the courage to ask a question simply and honestly, for the first time in his life. The weekend came fast. Ethan stood outside Maya's building on a cool Friday evening. He had driven himself this time, and something fluttered in his chest, maybe hope, maybe something more. When Maya opened her door, and it felt like time stopped. She was wearing a deep blue dress that sparkled like tiny stars. Ethan, who was always calm and serious, felt his heart skip a beat. He stared at her, and for a moment he couldn't speak. "You look," he started but then stopped. He didn't want to sound like he was giving a work report. Maya smiled kindly. She knew he was trying. "Thank you," she said softly. Then she added, "You look very handsome too." As they drove to the Reed family house, they sat in a peaceful silence. Sometimes they talked and laughed. Ethan told stories about his childhood, something he didn't usually do. He talked about family traditions and how his great-grandfather started family weekends. "My great-grandfather believed success means nothing if you don't have family to share it with," Ethan said, looking at the road but thinking about the past. "It's funny because I've lived my life in the opposite way." Maya looked at him gently. "We all grow and learn at different times," she said kindly. Soon, the Reed family home appeared. It looked like a magical picture, with warm lights in the windows and beautiful gardens shining in the night. When they arrived, Ethan gently held Maya's hand. "I should tell you," he said, drawing circles on her palm. "My mom can be a bit intense." Inside, the family waited in the big living room. Ethan's mom, Margaret Reed, stood up when they walked in. She saw their hands together and noticed the softer look in her son's eyes. She also saw how Maya stood naturally beside him. "Ethan, darling," Margaret said, hugging her son. Then she turned to Maya. "And you must be Maya. I've heard nothing about you, which, knowing my son, means you are very special." The night went on like a beautiful song with some fun surprises. Maya spoke to Ethan's dad, Daniel, about changes in law. He respected her smart ideas. She also shared cooking recipes with Margaret, who was happy to meet someone who loved traditions but liked trying new things too. But the biggest surprise came from Ethan's sister, Isla. She was usually quiet, and she didn't say much at dinner. She just watched Maya carefully. Later, in the library, Maya said something funny about a book by Jane Austen. Isla laughed out loud and said, "Someone who likes Austen and law? Do you know Ethan hasn't smiled this much at dinner since he was 12? Ethan, who had been watching Maya all evening, didn't deny it. He joined in their talks, not about work or being the boss, but about fun things. Maya told stories about her family, about the cases she cared about, and her dreams. Margaret saw this and said to her son, "You're different with her. More like the boy I remember, before you thought you had to be perfect all the time." Ethan watched as Maya talked to his dad about wine. "She doesn't expect me to be perfect," he said softly. "She wants me to be real." The weekend went by quickly, but every moment helped Ethan feel more open. Maya even beat him at chess, surprising him with smart moves. They walked in the garden where Ethan used to play as a child. He told her how he'd hide among the roses and dream of fun adventures before life got too serious. One afternoon, they were alone in the library. Maya looked at the family photos. Ethan stood close and said, "I've never brought anyone here who felt right. Even with Avery, it was all about pretending." Maya turned to him, her eyes warm. "And now? What are you pretending now?" "Nothing," Ethan said. He smiled. "For the first time, I'm just being me." After that weekend, things started to change. At work, people noticed Ethan was different. He still wanted everyone to do their best, but now he listened more. He cared about others' ideas. He even started eating lunch like a normal person, and sometimes met Maya at small cafes to talk without any work stuff between them. His assistant, Zara, saw how he laughed more. He paid attention to what people said. He started caring about the little things. Their love grew slowly and sweetly, like a river finding the right path. They challenged each other and helped each other. It wasn't about power, it was about being a team. One night, Maya had a busy day with a hard case. When she came out of her office, Ethan was waiting. He didn't say anything. He just led her to a small Italian restaurant. "I remembered this is your favorite," he said as they sat down. "The owner's grandma still makes the sauce fresh." Maya looked surprised. "You remembered?" "I only said that once." "I remember everything you say," Ethan told her. His voice was soft, and his eyes showed his heart. "You make me care about the little things." As they ate pasta and drank red wine, they talked about everything. Ethan shared his fears, how he worried he would never be as great as his dad, how he used work to hide his feelings. Maya talked about how hard it is to stay true to yourself while chasing big dreams. "You know," she said, twirling pasta, "when I first met you, not at the gala but really met you, I thought you were cold, only caring about power. And now?" Ethan asked, his heart beating faster. "Now I see someone who's learning that real strength comes from being honest," Maya said. "That being vulnerable isn't weak, it's brave." The candlelight made her eyes shine. Ethan felt something change inside, like a puzzle finally being finished. "I've never felt this way before," he said honestly. "With Avery or anyone. It was always about pretending. But with you, I want to be better. I want to be here. You make me want to be more than just the scary CEO." Maya reached across the table and held his hand. "I love the man behind the mask, Ethan. Not the boss everyone's afraid of. I love the man who is learning how to be real." Their first kiss happened right then. It wasn't planned. It wasn't fancy. It was sweet and true, just like their love. Everyone at work saw how Ethan changed. He still worked hard, but now he helped others too. He started a mentorship program, remembering how only one person had helped him when he was young. He taught more. He listened more. Zara smiled, thinking how funny it was. Her little plan to go to her mom's homecoming party had changed everything. It helped Ethan become more human. 6 months later, Ethan planned a special dinner at his penthouse. The city lights sparkled outside. He took Maya to the balcony. The table had candles and yummy food. "I've been thinking," Ethan said, pouring the wine, "about pretending and being real." Maya watched him, knowing this moment was important. "And what did you learn?" she asked. "That the best things happen when we stop pretending," Ethan said. He walked to her and held her hands. "You saw through everything. You didn't want the CEO or the rich guy. You wanted me. To be just Ethan," she said softly. He smiled and dropped to one knee. Something the old Ethan would never do. "And just Ethan is asking you," he said. "Will you marry me? Not for business or anything fancy, just because I love you. Truly." The ring he gave her wasn't big and flashy. It was old, special, and reminded them of the books they talked about in his family library. Maya said yes, and their kiss that followed was full of love and hope for the future. People in the business world were shocked when they heard. But it wasn't about power or deals. It was about a man who changed because of love. At their party, a man from accounting named Johnson stood up. He was nervous but brave. He said, "To the couple who taught us that behind every mask, there's a real person. And to Mr. Reed, who showed us that real leaders aren't scary, they're kind." Ethan held Maya's hand and smiled. He had spent years hiding behind work and success. But now he knew his biggest success was this: learning to be himself, learning to love, and being loved in return. Their story wasn't about a tough CEO being tamed. It was about two strong people helping each other grow. In the end, it wasn't about pretending. It was about being real. It was about love. And it was beautiful. If this story touched your heart, please press that like button. It helps more people find these stories. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a new story. Most importantly, share your thoughts in the comments. I love you all. Take care of your hearts.